Might take a minute. So I was just checking for the today's topic, Guru Maharaj.
Yeah, we'll continue on the same subject. You can go to Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 1, text number 10, 1110.
Okay, Guru. Yes, I'm just sharing my screen in a minute. Oops. Is this correct, Guru Maharaj?
Yeah, somebody must have heard my lecture yesterday, and they brought me a present today based on my lecture. You know what the present is?
What is it, Guru Maharaj? It will be nice to know.
A frisbee.
Frisbee.
I guess I'm supposed to go out and play frisbee now for health. Okay. Never know what's going to happen when you give class. Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Prayenau Payusad Sabdyaham Kalavasmin Yuge Janaham Mandasumanda Matayo Manyabhagya Upadrituha. So this is the very beginning of the Bhagavatam. And Shanaka Rish, Sutta Goswami is speaking. O learned men, in this iron age of Kali, men are always have but short life. They are quarrelsome, lazy, misguided, unlucky, and above all, always disturbed. The devotees of the Lord are anxious for the spiritual improvement of the general public. When the sages of Nami Saranya analyzed the state of affairs of the people in the age of Kali, they foresaw that men would live short lives. In Kali Yuga, the duration of life is shortened, not so much because of insufficient food, but because of irregular habits. By keeping regular habits and eating simple food, any man can maintain his health. Overeating, over sense gratification, over dependence on another's mercy, and artificial standards of living sap the very vitality of human energy. Therefore, the duration of life is shortened. The people of this age are also very lazy, not only materially, but in the matter of self-realization. The human life is especially meant for self-realization. That is to say, man should come to know what he is, what the world is, and what the supreme truth is. Human life is a means by which the living entity can end all the miseries of the hard struggle of life in material existence, and by which he can return to Godhead, his eternal home. But due to a bad system of education, men have no desire for self-realization. Even if they come to know about it, they unfortunately become victims of misguided teachers. In this age, men are victims not only of different political creeds and parties, but also different types of sense gratificatory diversion, such as cinemas, sports, gambling, clubs, mundane libraries, bad association, smoking, drinking, cheating, pilfering, bickering, and so on. Their minds are always disturbed and full of anxieties due to so many different engagements. In this age, many unscrupulous men manufacture their own religious faiths, which are not based on any revealed scripture. Very often, people who are addicted to sense gratification are attracted by such institutions. Consequently, in the name of religion, so many sinful acts are being carried out that the people in general have neither peace of mind nor health of body. The student brahmachari communities are no longer being maintained, and householders do not observe the rules and regulations of the grihastha ashram. Consequently, the so-called vanapras and sannyasis who come out of such grihastha ashrams are easily deviated from the rigid path. In Kali Yuga, the whole atmosphere is surcharged with faithlessness. Men are no longer interested in spiritual values. Material sense gratification is now the standard of civilization. For the maintenance of such material civilization, man has formed complex nations and communities, and there is a constant strain of hot and cold wars between these different groups. It has become very difficult, therefore, to raise the spiritual standard due to the present distorted values of human society. The sages of Naimisharanya are anxious to disentangle all fallen souls, and here they are seeking the remedy of Srila Sutta Goswami. Om Gyantimirandasya Gnanajana Salakaya Chaksun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutalaya Shrimakti Bhakti Vedanta Swami Tinamane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvasesa Sunyavari Pastyatya Satarine Vanchakopa Tarubhascha Kripa Sindhu Paevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare. In this age, iron age of Kali, men almost always have but short lives. They are quarrelsome, lazy, misguided, unlucky, and above all, always disturbed. So in this age of Kali, eight things are drastically decreased because of the effects of this age, which is lying, cheating, hypocrisy, and emphasis on sense gratification and sinful activities. This age is affecting everyone in a negative way, even those who are engaged in devotional life. Already we are seeing this age, Kali Yuga is only 5,100 years into the age, and there's always reasons for quarrel. People quarrel on all levels, national level, international level, community level, family level, and also on an individual level. That means that even in their own, they always quarrel even with themselves. They can't find peace of mind anywhere. The World Health Organization out of Washington, D.C. keeps kind of statistics on the overall health categories of people. And mental health is one of their categories. And the mental health in this age is decreasing drastically, where more than half the population of the world suffers from some form of anxiety or depression. The statistics are quite high, and not so much for people who are impoverished. They have their other own problems. The people who are affluent, who are well-to-do in society, these are the people who are accepting and receiving the most forms of distress, anxiety, and actual mental disease in the form of depression. So we live in a very difficult age. And here also, very difficult to maintain one's health. The air is polluted, the food is polluted, the water is polluted. The medicine you buy in the stores are never guaranteed to help you. The doctors who prescribe the medicine, just like one of my disciples just wrote me yesterday, and she was saying how she has this problem, but when she goes to doctors, all they're interested is giving her injections, selling her, prescribing different kinds of medicines. And she knows that's not the way to approach the problem. So you see, this is just one of many examples where people are subjected, even though they're in distress, they're subjected to people who can't help them in any way. It's such a bad age because money becomes the main concern. People are interested in making as much money as they can so they can somehow feel themselves being secure and having whatever they want whenever they want it. So we could go on for hours describing the anomalies in this age. But the 8 main anomalies, I'll try to mention some of them, is that duration of life is shortened, bodily strength is drastically reduced, people's memory is reduced, people's mercifulness towards others is drastically reduced. These are the 4 categories that are the most prominent in the area of reduction. And there are others. This is due to the effects of this age. People will look for a spiritual master and find and get a cheater and accept the cheater as somebody who is bona fide. The cheaters will say anything to the people just to get followers, and money becomes the exchange. So it's a very difficult age. So in trying to keep one's mental and physical health along with one's spiritual practice requires much effort in that direction. And the effort must center around community, because community allows for support. Trying to overcome the effects of Kali Yuga in our individual family units becomes quite a challenge, even though we understand what is right, and we also may understand how to carry it out. Unless we have support with a broader sector of devotees who are also in the same situation we are, we find it's a struggle even to do the smallest things. And the economic expense, or the expense, always becomes the main thing that people struggle with, to try to be able to pay for everything that they need, not what to speak of what they don't need, but even what they need, they're struggling. So Kali Yuga will continue. Right now, they're talking about food shortages in the United States. They're talking about food shortages while they're shipping food to other countries. They're talking about food shortages while they're burning warehouses full of supplies of food. So you'll see this, we're in a very, very difficult time. But for devotee, here it says that all you can do is ultimately take shelter of the instructions of the great souls. As it says in the very ending part of this purport, the sages at Namasaranya are concerned and anxious to disentangle the fallen souls. So they are seeking remedy from Sutta Goswami. And that's the basis of the discussion that will expand out into the teachings of the Srimad Bhagavatam. So Krishna, he's concerned, and he sends his representatives, the pure devotee spiritual masters, to enlighten people on how to live. And one of the things that he teaches us is that life should be simple. Here it also says here, to go back to the very top of the purport, here it says here, by keeping regular habits and eating simple food, any man can maintain his health. So the simplicity is being applied to the eating process. Gorgeous eating, very luxurious eating, very sense gratification type of eating just for the satisfaction of the tongue, will challenge one's ability to maintain their health. And after some time, will cause one to become discouraged, because once you develop a taste for a certain type of eating, to change becomes very difficult. But one should practice living simply, keeping things simple. And of course, Srila Prabhupada started, at least he started the New Vrindavan community, he started the Gita Nagari community, both of them in the United States, as a model for the rest of the society to follow in order to develop and establish and to prosper in our Krishna consciousness. And that means simple living, high thinking, not like high living and no thinking. That's pretty much where life is today. People come in contact with a lot of information, but they know nothing because their minds are so scattered by collecting information, but they have no knowledge. Now, information is not knowledge. Knowledge means tato brahma jigyasa, knowing the difference between yourself and your body, and knowing the actual goal of life. That is the foundation by which all knowledge begins and develops from. And based on those principles, we can live a life that is God conscious. But we are always challenged in so many different ways. And so one has to work very diligently in order to just to maintain health. And this society is not changing. In fact, it is becoming more and more like that. For instance, those of you who live in the United States can testify that the price of living, or the cost of living, has skyrocketed in the last couple of years. The prices have doubled and tripled for certain commodities, and even some of the necessities that were readily available are no longer available. What to speak about even having high prices, the item is no longer available. Now, this is Kali Yuga. And therefore, one should develop their Krishna consciousness based on the principle of community, developing relationships with other devotees in a more communal lifestyle. Um, we have spoken about this a number of times, but I don't think there's enough emphasis on the importance of making plans for a lifestyle that is more in line with nature. City life is not natural life. I mean, even in the Vedic times, there were cities, but they were not like the cities we have now. They weren't full of pollution, noise, traffic, congestion, crime, and economic adventures. There were places where people could meet and have some recreation, but not. It wasn't about you know making a living. People would make their living simply by working with nature. Nature has provided everything. We somehow we can't see that people thousands of years ago lived happily and fine without all the things we have now. And when we think about that, we think, how do they ever live? But actually, they lived better because they had more time for each other and they had more time for spiritual practice. This is one of the, when Srila Prabhupada was, before he came to America, this was in 1944. This was also during World War II. Prabhupada started a periodical called Back to Godhead. And Back to Godhead was just one or two sheets of paper where Prabhupada would write an article. So Prabhupada would pick different articles. A lot of times he would talk about the political situation that was in the world in relationship to the importance of depending on God and worshiping God. And then he would take his one or two sheets article to have it printed. And then he would take these printed items and he would go to the different tea stalls in Delhi and also places where people congregate. And he would offer one of these Back to Godhead sheets, it was only a sheet of paper, one or two sheets, for a few pice, very cheap. And after doing this for a while, Srila Prabhupada was getting a response from many of the people he was approaching that Swamiji, what you're doing is very nice, but we don't have any time. We have no time. So we are doing this, we're doing that, and therefore we don't have any time. So Prabhupada continuously was getting that response, no time. So one of his upcoming articles, Back to Godhead, was called No Time. How people in general have no time for the most important thing, spiritual life. They are too busy maintaining their families, too busy going here and there, trying to support a particular lifestyle. And therefore, no time is a constant thing. People have no time. But then again, when we look at it from a logical point of view, that as time goes on in our life, as we get older, it becomes more and more incumbent that we take Krishna consciousness more seriously. In the sense that now we're getting closer to the time where we have to leave the world, and therefore it becomes more of an emergency rather than just a luxury to become Krishna conscious. And therefore, one cannot say, well, no time. No time, because time is Krishna, as Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Mitya sarva harasya aham. I am death in the form of time, and I come to take everyone away. So we want to live our life healthy and full of activities of devotional service, also to be able to take care of our material responsibilities. But in order to do all that nicely, life has to be simple. Otherwise, it becomes too complicated. And we find people don't have time for each other. That's the main thing. Too busy doing things. The only time we get together is for some business or some economic reasons. Or maybe we might sit down and eat together for a little while, but even that's not happening anymore. People are so busy working, trying to increase their prestige in the economic area that they have no time to get together and take meals together. It's mentioned that in material life, this is not a spiritual principle, it's a material principle, but it's foundational. Because one thing I'm emphasizing in these talks that I'm giving, along with the spiritual philosophical teachings that are fundamental to our knowledge of Krishna and our practice of devotional service, is the importance of learning how to live properly. If we don't learn how to live properly, then we find Krishna consciousness becomes difficult. So there is that foundation to our Krishna consciousness that is supportive, and that is a proper lifestyle. And we might say, well, yeah, here I am in the crazy world of Kali Yuga, so how do I do that? Again, we come back to the same point. It's community that makes the difference. Yeah, if we don't know how to take care of our health, if we don't know how to educate our children, if we don't know how to earn a living without sacrificing ourselves onto the altar of hard work, then how will we be able to practice Krishna consciousness effectively? And so our material disturbing lifestyle will cause our spiritual life to be afflicted and affected. So that's why we want to emphasize some of these more secular terminologies, which are fundamental to Krishna consciousness. And Prabhupada talks about that a lot, how to live in order to practice Krishna consciousness. And here we see in this purport that people's healths are not so much challenged by insufficient food. There's always, seems to be always enough food. But what is the challenge? Irregular habits. Irregular habits sort of sap the human energy of the living entity. And therefore they don't have any energy or time for the real goal of life, spiritual life. So one has to understand through practical knowledge that in this age of Kali, it's a struggle to become Krishna conscious. We experience that, we learn that. Well, when we create community, which is supportive of both the individual and the goal of life, both the goal of life means the community is geared towards developing Krishna consciousness. Then it becomes more natural and easy. So this is the future. It's not the future, it's the present that still needs to be implemented within our society. So we are not asking people to simply leave their present situation, but we're asking each and every individual to have a program that when it's time to move on, one will know where to go to. Not like if the society collapses and shuts down, what do? Just start, rationing our life? No. Prabhupada said we've created our new Vrindavan community, West Virginia. We have our Vrindavan in India, Mayapur, and now we have so many other places that are developing. So this simple living is actually natural living. It's not simply a austerity. The austerity is to give up the idea that we can be happy by sense gratification. That's the austerity. So this verse, this purport is quite instructive. People are constantly being defeated in this age, and not just devotees, but everybody. Why? Because this is the age. We just don't know how to live in such a way that we can take care of our necessities and still make progress in spiritual life. Okay, so I'll stop there. And of course, today's topic is also about health. And I've been posting some things to different individuals. I haven't posted anything on the conference because I want the conference to be just simply focused on spiritual topics. But there are some real important secular topics that need to be circulated so people can understand how to adjust their life in this age to avoid all of the calamities that are being forced upon people by the present age. Practical knowledge, spiritual practice.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Guru Maharaj. It was really nice talk on health, and the verse really reflects what has been discussed. And we really, it's so important that we always look after ourselves, and then only we can serve Krishna. So the point you have made that along with the philosophical teaching, we need to learn how to live properly. And you always, stress on farm communities and how we can move out of the cities. So your class was really a very good reminder to all of us. Devotees, if you have any question, comments, realizations, please unmute yourself and ask questions. And it will be really nice to have your cameras on so we can see you as well. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Before anyone, actually, I'm just waiting for, yes, Sridevi Mataji, go ahead.
Thank you, Satyabama. Dear Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to your divine lotus feet. Thank you, Guru Maharaj, for again reminding us about how important it is to just have a simple, healthy, community-oriented lifestyle. Otherwise, it's very, very difficult to practice Krishna consciousness. It's not really a question. I just wanted to share my little experience as a reminiscence therapist. I used to visit old age homes and I used to talk to the old ladies. And I said, what do you think of all this, modern lifestyle? We go to work, and ladies also now go to work and come back. And she said, I think that the women are worse off. She said, now I see my granddaughter, she's running like crazy. She goes to work, she drops the kids in daycare, she comes back, then again she has to work. She's always quarreling with her boyfriend. I mean, they don't even marry anymore, and nothing seems to be running properly. They have a lot of things, but there is no peace, there's no happiness, and now she has to do double the work. In our time, we had time to do quilting, we had time for embroidery, we used to all sit together. There used to be a quilting circle where all the ladies would come together and they would make one big quilt together. And naturally, there was great bonding, there was companionship, there was sharing, there was caring. So all these activities that ladies would do together are all gone now, because the ladies are in a frenzy: go to work, come back, take care of kids, go shopping, do laundry, etc., etc. So this old lady was saying women are worse off today now compared to what we had. Just wanted to share that.
So I think Mataji made a really very good point, and I've always felt that if your husband in the house, then they both equal share the and the responsibility should be shared between both of them, so that they can if wife is doing everything, then it will be very difficult for her to progress in the spiritual life. But if both of them taking the responsibility, then like if they both finish the kitchen work quickly, then they both can sit down and read Srimad Bhagavatam or attend classes or do deity worship. So I'm assuming that, or maybe devotees, please come forward and we can have a nice discussion on the topic. And Sridevi Mataji has really, highlighted it, that what I remember my grandmother, what they used to make the pickle and papad and things like that, which doesn't happen anymore. Like, I don't see that happening in our families anymore. But olden times were very nice, that all the a neighborhood used to get together to do these things. Like we used to always make Diwali sweets all together with neighbors, and relatives used to come forward. But that doesn't happen anymore. And that's very good point, that we are moving away, we are moving to the very fast life. And what Guru Maharaj highlighted, that this is what we have to move out from. And we are going more.
All of you come to Mayapur.
Yes.
Let's go together. Community right here.
It'll be a big pickle.
So many scattered lives all over the world. Just imagine, it would be so nice, everyone coming together, living simply, supporting each other, helping one another, and growing in Krishna consciousness is the real goal of human life, without each one of us having to worry about everything. Imagine, ladies coming together, and that way child rearing doesn't become an individual responsibility, it becomes a collective responsibility. Yes. Everything can be simplified so much when we do things together.
Yes, so I think it'll be nice if devotees would like to, say something about this point, what Sridevi Mataji has highlighted, and what Guru Maharaj has talked about, that how we can move from city to the community life, and discuss what points, like how we can do it, rather than yes, we all know that there are benefits, but how practically we all can do it. If anyone has any points, anything for what Sridevi Mataji is saying, and it'd be really nice to hear.
And I think it makes such a big difference to the morale, to the overall, feeling, a sense of belonging. I can tell you this honestly, when I was a girl, I was really small, and my youngest sister, she was just a newborn baby, she was born, and somehow when she was flailing her arms, how little children do, the tiny nail cut through my mother's eye, through the cornea. And my mother had to go to the hospital and get all that thing done and everything. When she came back home, it was very difficult to do anything with that big bandage. All the neighbors were giving us food. Somebody was bringing breakfast, somebody was bringing lunch, somebody was bringing dinner, and everybody was taking turns to help us out as a family. I still remember that. But today, and again, I'll tell you my own story. I'm not making complaints, but I was little ill here in Mayapur, and there was no one, practically speaking. I didn't want to disturb anyone, but no one was there even to ask, do you need anything? Are you well? Do you need any food? I mean, nothing at all. Then finally, I did get some help. I reached out to someone, and then they sent somebody with a tiffin supply. That means you pay for the food and you get it. So that's the way, I got my prasadam. But ideally, when someone is sick in a community, other people are there to help out. And it's all, just normal and natural to do that. We don't have to feel so isolated or, oh, I don't want to trouble my neighbors by telling them I'm sick or something like that. It'll be a burden to them. These kind of feelings we have now. It used to not be like that. Also, elderly people in the home would take care of the small children. Automatically, childcare was happening. We didn't have to go out, go to babysitter, carrying a bag full of diapers, bottles, wipes, medicine, this thing, books, play, toy, quilt. All these things that a woman has to carry, to the babysitter. It was no need because it would be right there in the home. And the family taking care of the child is different from a paid babysitter. You see? So I think that maybe we should really seriously think in terms of community living as a God family, so that we're not each of us struggling alone just to meet basic needs.
Absolutely, Mataji. Absolutely. Very good point. Actually, you made that how much is needed. And few points for the, I've just posted in the chat as well what I was reading from Srila Prabhupada's Papat. And that we need to stay away from all this, like cinemas, sports, gambling, clubs, mundane libraries. And libraries means, all this reading fiction, non-fiction books, any type of, apart from reading Srila Prabhupada's books, bad association. So, yeah, so this is what you're saying, like, this is what makes our life miserable. And yeah, go on, Mataji.
And for companionship, nowadays, what do? We turn to WhatsApp messages. Who's messaged me? Who is wanting, some help? That's my companion over here, WhatsApp messaging and emails and laptop. And well, it used to not be like that. We had actual live connections with people. We didn't have to resort to social media to send messages or put on Facebook or do this and do that. But now this is like trending, this is the trend. Everything is on social media.
Yeah, yes, yeah, that's true. Mataji, if you don't mind, I have a question on this. And is it okay if I ask you?
Yeah, go ahead.
No, Guru Maharaj is there.
Guru Maharaj is there. So Guru Maharaj, yesterday you mentioned about the exercising. And I went to India last week. I was in India and I felt very sick, actually. I was quite sick and I was taken to the hospital and all the checks, blood test and everything was done to me. My heart checks and everything was done. And by Krishna's mercy, everything came normal. But the doctor said one thing, that I had no stamina because I'm not doing any exercise or nothing like that. And he said that you have to, and literally on the prescription, he said that I have to do 45 minutes walk every day. And looking at my schedule, I feel like it's having, a deities at home and a full-time job and a kid as well, my son, looking after family. I find it very, very difficult from last 2.5 years because I'm not going office. I struggle to get time to go for a walk or do any exercise. So yesterday I was thinking about it, and me and Vrindavan Dham Prabhu were discussing that Srila Prabhupada used to go for japa walks. But I usually struggle to focus when I'm walking and chanting. And yesterday, first time, in so many years, we tried first time, we did the japa walk, we did our rounds while walking. It wasn't very focused, it wasn't very good quality rounds, but we managed, we did it. But I just wanted to get your view on the japa walk, that should we give this a try, because those are we spend 1.5 hours, 2 hours, 2 hours in chanting, and if that can be, we can use that to do some of the walking as well. So how good is that? And if how we can stay focused while chanting and while walking? Maybe Shridevi Mataji, do you have something to say?
Guru Maharaj will answer that.
Mataji, you can answer. Or it will be nice if anyone feel the same thing, to get your views as well on this, that how do you feel, how do you make your routine, and that can help the discussion as well, that how do you do your exercise in your routine, like if you're working, if you have deities at home?
Well, Guru Maharaj has given this instruction to me that in the morning, go for a walk and you can chant while you walk, like that. So I have been doing that in the US. Here, I've not yet got into that routine, but I know it is very important to incorporate exercise, because especially as we grow older, it becomes very important, circulation problems, backaches and this and that. All these we can prevent by incorporating a daily exercise routine. That's why Srila Prabhupada went for his morning walks on the advice of that doctor, and he took it very seriously. So doing some form of exercise is very important for our health. And Guru Maharaj has given that instruction to go for a walk in the morning. That's just my experience.
Thank you, Mataji. So Mataji, how do you stay focused when you're chanting? And because like yesterday I did it first time, and I don't think it was like I could focus when I'm walking. So how do you make sure that you're listening and
It's a rhythm you have to get into.
okay.
You have to establish a rhythm in your chanting.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. Thank you. So I have one more related question, because if there is no one is keeping their hands up, maybe asking, I just want to ask one more thing, as which is also health related, is I have Radha Krishna deities at home, and I always want to feed them nice food, like nice bhoga should be there, because deities they should be served nicely. But I try to distribute as much as I can the sweets and other stuff. But still there's leftover is there, and it's not always very healthy bhoga. Sometimes it's fried and sweets are there, and sweets are always there. So how do we what do we do, like, because it's I think it's affecting health as well, eating too much sweets. And we always, me and my husband, they both are fond of sweets. So if it's there in the house, it's made, it's prasad is there, we will honor it. We try to honor it. So what should be done? What should be the solution for this? Maybe devotees can tell me, give me the advice. What do that? Yes, I try to. Thank you, Archana Siddhi Mataji. I do try and distribute as much as I can. Yes. Even now the devotees have said that, because they also make the bhoga for Krishna. They said, please don't bring it anymore. Our fridge is full. So Narasimha Leela Mataji has said a good point as well. She said that I've heard that for females, it's very beneficial to eat healthy sweets in the morning. Wow. From Ayurvedic point of view, but not in the afternoon. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Narasimha Leela Mataji. Very nice point. Thank you. This is first time I've heard that. So it's nice to hear that we can have healthy sweets in the morning. And anyone else? It will be nice. What do you all do with the sweets? Do you? Yeah, what's the healthy sweets? So Shridevi Mataji is asking, what are the healthy sweets? Maybe laddus made out of the jaggery, or anything else? Dates and nuts laddus. Yes, absolutely. Yes. Yes. My mom used to make. Thank you. Thanks, Devi Mataji. Mataji, you might know lots of healthy sweets. So that'll be nice to know if you can share it in the WhatsApp or God family group, or if anyone actually, it's really nice if devotees know any healthy sweets, if you can share it in the God family. We would love to know if there are anything you use, like, we are all from the different part of the world, and we have come from the different culture, different, background. So it's always nice to know what everyone makes for their lordships at home. And if there's anything healthy, we can all use it and honor it as well, like offer it and honor it. So I think we can maybe end the session. What do you think, Shilitesh Devi Mataji?
Let's ask Guru Maharaj.
Yes, Guru Maharaj, do you think? I think Guru Maharaj is pretty tired today. Or anyone else have any questions? Maybe if you want to talk about any health issues, you struggle with exercise, if your food diet, anything like that, we can all, it's all God family group. So it'll be nice to discuss this sometime. Like, I can see Mataji, Sumitra Mataji is with baby hanging around, cooking and cleaning and looking after the baby. So it'll be nice if devotees come forward and say something about their and give some suggestions which can help all of us. So Narsingh Lila Mataji has said dried fruit jaggery. We can make a list. Definitely we can make a list.
You got a long list? There's things you can ask from different angles of vision. Everyone try to think, what am I struggling with now in a practical or spiritual way? Present it in the form of a question. Anyone else?
So there is one more thing which I think question has come from Rinda Mataji. If it is difficult to walk every day, doing Surya Namaskar at home helps too. Just my experience. Okay, that's very nice point.
Well, I would qualify that by saying Surya Namaskar is not for everyone. Because I was doing it for a while and then my physical therapist told me to stop because it's not good. So moving in certain directions may be good for some people. And for others, something else may be more appropriate. So it's better not to adopt these physical exercises unless you have enough knowledge of whether it's beneficial or not, because a lot of times we just do it because other people are doing it. But that's when it comes to physical exercises, the only one we can adopt that is generic is walking. That's good. That's the best.
Thanks, Guru Maharaj. Shridevi Mataji, you have your hands up.
Yeah, I would like to ask a question. Dear Guru Maharaj, we hear that taking daytime naps is not a good idea because then it interferes with nighttime sleep and it's in general not very good for health. But
what is?
Daytime naps, taking naps in the daytime.
Yeah. Well,
but I find,
yeah, go ahead.
But I find that the heat, I mean, this is my first season of heat long term in India. The heat is so much that my head stops working. I become very drowsy. And there's no way for me to go forward without taking a nap during the day.
Take a cold shower. Cool, chill out. There's always ways to counteract the heat. Drink, mango lassi.
So avoid.
But for taking whether we should rest during the day or not, there's different opinions, and there's also different prescriptions for different devotees. Ayurveda says no, you don't take rest in the day. Prabhupada says when you get old, you generally don't sleep for long hours at a time. So therefore, it's recommended that one will take a little snap during the afternoon. So you have to see with proper advice that what is it good for you or not. And you can also help to evaluate by your own experiences.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. I will certainly take advice. Thank you.
I can't, if I speak from personal experience, then it might not apply to everybody.
Thank you. Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Lee.
Any other questions, devotee? So I assume there is no more questions, Guru Maharaj, and we have almost covered 1 hour. So is it okay to close the call?
Yeah, we can conclude here then.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, dear devotees.
Thank you so much, Guru Maharaj. Our humble obeisances to you.
Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Thank you very much.
Sumitra, you're back home already? Well, that was fast.
Yeah. Just driving straight home. No stopping anywhere.
You were just here. You were just here a few minutes ago. How'd you get home so fast?
As soon as the lecture started, I was in the car, and I just came like a few minutes ago.
That's good.
Ready to cook. Yeah, that's me. that was me.
I'm practicing for the weekend.
Okay. Happy to see it.